why you're at CPAC.
Well, I'm at CPAC because we know this is the place to come. A whole lot of Arizonans came all the way across the country, and the race in which I'm involved, my conservative challenge to John McCain for the Republican nomination, is a race obviously focused in Arizona, but with national implications for the entire conservative movement. So it only makes sense that I come to CPAC where so many conservatives gather, and given the fact that this is a race with national implications, I'm so pleased that so many people are responding, going to our website, jd4senate.com, jdforsenate.com, donating, getting involved in this campaign, and helping send a consistent conservative to the United States Senate to succeed Mr. McCain.
You have an interesting background. We were just talking about it. You were elected in 1994. You beat a Democratic incumbent. If you look at 1994 to today, what are some similarities? What are some differences?
Well, I actually believe that 2010 will be 1994 to the 10th power. We're seeing it here at CPAC. What, over 10,000 activists? Many of them new to the process, awakened Americans. I believe these awakened Americans are impassioned Americans. I believe they're going to be intense voters. Certainly, they're going to help me in the Republican primary in Arizona, August 24th, and again in November in the general election. This is this is even more than 94. This is a year where it's clear. Americans want change, all right, but they want the right kind of change, and that means turning to the right, to right principles, a restoration of our constitutional republic, and dealing with the priorities on their minds.
You touched on it. Your primary will get a lot of national attention. We haven't had a Republican primary like that probably since Toomey and Specter, I would say. Talk about some of the differences. Talk about some of the real key issues that you want to talk about in your campaign.
Well, again, Arizona voters have told me, hey, we think the world of John McCain, as do I. No one doubts his sincerity and his sacrifice and his service to our country. But after 28 years in Washington, and after crossing the aisle so many times, as one Arizona voter put it to me, John campaigns like a conservative and gets back to Washington and legislates like a liberal. For example, the tax cuts that I helped champion, actually helped write as a member of the Ways and Means Committee in 2001 and 2003. On both occasions, John went to the well of the U.S. Senate and said they were, quote, tax cuts for the rich, unquote, sounding a lot more like John Kerry than the John McCain I know. Take a look, for example, in this last presidential campaign, the big banking bailout. John said it was a horrible bill. He called it an obscenity, yet he voted for it anyway. $700 billion to the big banks and $150 billion more in earmarks. Earmarks, the very kind of spending John says he opposes. Then his ill-fated plan he hatched in one debate saying, hey, let's buy up all the bad mortgages for $300 billion. When asked where he got the idea, he said Hillary Clinton. Now look, I'm glad that they get along. I think we can all be friends, but simple fact is, if in the midst of an economic crisis, you're listening to Hillary Clinton, you sure as heck are not listening to Arizona. And then another major bone of contention, John's amnesty bill. I opposed it in Congress. I opposed it as a broadcaster. The American people likewise opposed it because, according to the Heritage Foundation, in retirement benefits alone for illegals granted citizenship, we were going to have to spend another $2.6 trillion with a T. You see, here's the irony. John has tried to maintain this perception that he is Mr. Fiscal Conservative. But as we can see, there's a gulf between the rhetoric and reality. And John is in no position to lecture anyone on fiscal responsibility just based on that brief outline of expenditures he embraced.
You have an August 18th primary.
August 24th primary.
24th, I'm sorry. And so between now and then, people do want to find you, the website.
Very simple place. Bless your heart for this question. Very simple place. jd4senate. That's jdforsenate.com. Contribute, volunteer. We'll have a great conservative victory in the Arizona Republican primary for the Senate on August 24th. And we'll go on to win the general election in November.